Today we begin the second half of our course. We begin our study of ancient Rome, which began as a small village on the Tiber and would grow to be the largest empire the Mediterranean world had yet known. And key to this growth would be Rome's ability to assimilate other populations and cultures, and also its own awareness of its place in history. And so we begin by looking at the history of the Bronze Age in Italy. The period before the period from about 2000 to 1200 BC. Italian geography encouraged unification in a way that Greek geography did not. If you look at this geographic map on the second slide of the PowerPoint here, you can see that the features of Greece, the mountains all over the surface that have divided it up into lots of little enclaves, are not really present in Italy. Yes, there are some mountain ranges, but Italy is clearly more accessible and more easily unified. And the mountains are mostly to the north and provide protection rather than encouraging the development of separate identities. We know of several Italian Bronze Age cultures, Nuragic civilization based to the south, a Pennine culture further to the north in central and southern Italy, and then Villanovan culture in northern Italy. And it's Villanovan culture that we see the use of iron, which suggests we're moving from the Bronze Age into the Iron Age. It's possible that the development of the use of iron, we're moving on to the third slide of the PowerPoint now, were driven by the arrival again of migrating Indo-European peoples from the north, who came from the Russian steppes into Eastern and Southern Europe. And so there are two different types of these speakers: Q speakers, whose word for 5 is quinque, and P speakers, whose word for 5 was pompa. So Q speakers originate the language of Latin, and P speakers are a later wave, we think, a lot of supposition when it comes to history that's this early, who represent all the other language groups in Italy at this time. In the 8th century, so we're moving forward at a fairly rapid speed now, Villanovan culture was replaced by Etruscan civilization. And so it's going to be the Etruscans and the Latins that are going to have the greatest influence on the development of Roman culture. You also have, further to the south, the expansion of Greek influence. So 8th century BC, 700s, what do we know is going on in Greece at this time? It's the Archaic Age, second wave Greek colonization. That includes the southern and eastern areas of Italy. So we have Greeks, we have Etruscans, we have Latins who are shaping this region. And so as we move on to the next slide, it's important to remember that Rome develops in this multicultural environment. Now, we don't have any contemporary sources for this period of the formation of Rome in the 8th century. We have founding legends. And even though these are legends, not strictly speaking history, we can study them through a historical lens. We can look at them and see what they tell us about the Romans. So we have a Greek version of these legends, in which Rome was founded by the Trojan hero Aeneas in 1150 after the fall of Troy, and this roughly corresponds with the date of the Trojan War. A more popular Roman legend held that the city was founded in 753, and so later historians writing in the time of ancient Rome tried to fuse these together. They said Aeneas arrived in Italy around 1150. He founded his own colony, his own city, and then Rome was founded a little later on. So some of the descendants of Aeneas were two brothers, Numitor and Amulius. And Numitor ruled Alba Longa, which was the colony that Aeneas had founded. Amulius was the first evil uncle, evil brother who drove out Numitor, and Numitor's wife, Res Silva, became pregnant with twins named Romulus and Remus. And again, according to the legend, Amulius ordered for them to be killed. Instead, they were put in a river on a basket, taken care of by a wolf and then by a shepherd. And then when they grew up, they returned to Alba Longa and killed their uncle, took vengeance for the death of their father. However, then they try and found their own cities, and they come into competition with one another. Romulus kills Remus, so Romulus had built a wall, started building a wall, it's only a little wall, and Remus jumps over the wall in derision, and Romulus kills him. And so Romulus is going to be the founder of Rome. And Rome always has this legacy of violence, the violence of the rivalries between Amulius and Numitor, the violence between Romulus and Remus, and there's this idea of anyone who tries to attack the walls of Rome is going to face the same consequences that Remus did. And so we have violence as an early strand in our study of Roman culture. But there are other aspects of Roman culture that developed during this period as well that are associated with the early kings of Rome. And so these are the descendants of Romulus. And we can, again, remember that these are legends, but remember at the same time they're encapsulating the way the Romans want to think about their history and they want to remember themselves. So even these legends give us a sense of the values that the Romans thought were most important. So we have the development of the Roman religion. We have the idea that a king can come from being a slave but can rise through merit and service to the community. And we have the idea of being a successful warrior. So war, religion, these are the early important characteristics of Roman culture. And we know that the kings held two powers, imperium, which was the power to lead armies, and auspicium, the right to conduct religious services, to lead religious services, and to determine the will of the gods. And it seems as though they did just as we saw in ancient Greece. It's not as though these are absolute rulers. It's more that they're acting with the support and with the consent of the council of the most powerful citizens, who probably also play a role in choosing the next king or approving the next king. So being king isn't something that's purely hereditary. It's, again, something that has to be approved by this council. And here we can probably also see the influence of the Greeks. So Roman society, war and religion are the key important early trends. The power to lead both are united in the kings, but the kings are not absolute. They rule with the consent and the approval of their council of the most important citizens.